Good
Um,
morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tobacco Free Tuesday webinar on youth engagement and Incorruptible Us, our Youth Tobacco Action Group. Welcome Tobacco Free Tuesday. We're happy to have a plethora of amazing presenters today. It's your regional coordinators and youth coordinators for Incorruptible Us. And we even have a surprise with some students at the end that will be sharing their endeavors and everything that they've been working on. So we're really proud of them. Just a reminder that this webinar is recorded. Please feel free to put any comments or any suggestions or anything, technical assistance in the chat. And there's a Q&A feature. If you have any questions that you have, please put that in the Q&A and then we can get to it at the end of the presentation. But we will have this recorded and it will be shared out with everyone after the webinar, and it will be housed on the Tobacco Free Tuesday section of our website. So we're super happy to have you today. Welcome back to school. Welcome to fall. Welcome to Incorruptible Us and Youth Engagement. So I'll turn it over to Carlo to introduce the youth team.
yeah, so welcome everybody. Good morning. So this is all about Incorruptible Us and youth engagement. We thought this would be a great start to the new school year to reintroduce some of you to Incorruptible Us, New Jersey's Youth Tobacco Action Group program, and what we do. And then, of course, have a little session about proper youth engagement best practices from our friends over at LMTI. So we're very excited to jump into this. The picture that you see on the screen is like sort of the perfect melding of these two spheres, right? It is a picture from the Lindsay Meyer Teen Institute Summer Leadership Conference from this past summer, where we had a lot of our Incorruptible Us youth there that were engaging, in their own sort of capacity building, in leadership building techniques, and develop their own action plan that Incorruptible Us will be engaged with over this next year. So we're very excited to share all of this with you today. Um, Here is our team. Again, I am Carlo. I am the statewide youth coordinator and also manage the central region of our Incorruptible Us program. I'm going to pass it over to Tanya.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tani Bansimer. I'm the Northern Regional Coordinator and the Sussex County Youth Coordinator, and I'll pass it to Michelle.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Michelle Costello. I'm the Southern Regional Youth Coordinator for Incorruptible Us and the Youth Coordinator for Atlantic County. And I will pass it over to Caitlin.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Caitlin Bradley. I am a program coordinator with the Lindsay Meyer Teen Institute. I'm very excited to be here with you. And Rachel?
Hi, I'm Rachel, also with the Lindsay Meyer Teen Institute.
Perfect. And now, just so you all know how we are typically divided up regionally. So when we say we're in charge of a region, New Jersey, even though small, is quite big and densely populated. So we're divided into three separate regions: North, Central, and South, as we mentioned. And we do have two statewide partners, that is with the Cooperative and LMTI. So, who is Incorruptible Us? Well, Incorruptible Us is New Jersey's youth tobacco action group program that is designed to target youth age 13 to 18. It is focused on the education and mobilization of peers, and the way that they are able to take action is by making change through social media campaigns, policy work, and school and community outreach. And even though we have an Incorruptible Us chapter in each and every county in New Jersey, that does look tailored to the needs of that community, right? So we will be able to highlight a lot of that for you today. Now, Incorruptible Us has 4 quarterly focus topics that we engage the youth with in terms of developing campaigns for the year. Currently, we are in the cessation and Great American Smokeout quarter that we focus on. I'm sorry, we're towards the end of the mental health and wellness quarter that we focus on over the summer and towards the start of the school year, in which we focus on natural highs, mental health and wellness. We will be moving into the cessation and Great American Smokeout quarter for October, November, and December, of course, culminating with Great American Smokeout on the third Thursday of the month, in which we will eventually be revealing to you our theme for Great American Smokeout this year, which is breaking up with tobacco. So we have lots of fun things planned for that. Then, starting the new year in January, February, and March, we move into social justice and take down Tobacco National Day of Action. And then April, May, and June, we focus on tobacco and its impact on the environment. And the way that we do that is by incorporating the INC method, which is informing, navigating, and change. Informing by learning about a variety of tobacco-related topics and influential factors. Navigating by brainstorming and developing plans for engagement, strategy, and goals. And change through discovering ways to take action and bring lasting change to those communities. Each of our Incorruptible Us chapters does engage in this method in their planning of their activities and projects throughout the course of the year. Now, we do get the chance to do collaborations every once in a while, and this is from, I think this is like 2 years ago when we collaborated with Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids and Congressman Frank Pallone, where we actually met at Rutgers University. And this picture really culminates, I think, the generations of Incorruptible Us that has been involved since 2019. You actually see some of our youth from our Middlesex chapter of Incorruptible Us here. You see, of course, members of our tobacco team, members from Rutgers Tobacco Institute of Nicotine and Tobacco Studies staff, and of course, some folks from Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, as well as the congressman. But you also see in this photo youth who were originally involved in our program in 2019 that went on and actually created the first Incorruptible U chapter at Rutgers University, New Brunswick, which is still lasting today and is an official recognized organization that is self-funded through their school senate. So, taking the next step of all of that change that they did at the high school level and then applying that, of course, to them on the collegiate level as well. Here is a few photos from Incorruptible U. We had an established chapter at TCNJ as well, and they engage in different activities on this sort of greater level, so relating the college student experience to the same principles as Incorruptible Us does. Now we get the opportunity to engage in a bunch of different activities locally at the community level. This picture that you see here is from Incorruptible Us Middlesex engaging in an Earth Day activity. So that's where our youth are able to go out and engage with community members, youth and adults alike, to bring the much needed information about the dangers of tobacco products to the community and engaging in that informing aspect of Incorruptible Us. Talking about how much of an environmental hazard that vaping is, right? That, the metals that are discarded on the ground, that doesn't just decompose in the ground, right? It does have very harmful effects to the greater environment around everyone. So youth engaging actively in that inform aspect. We also have our youth who engage in peer-to-peer Don't Get Vaped In presentations. For those of you who are unaware, we do have our curriculum called Don't Get Vaped In, of which there is a training that's coming up very shortly. And Don't Get Vaped In has an adult-to-adult component, an adult-to-youth component, and then the peer-to-peer element to it as well, where our youth are able to go out and educate their peers on the dangers of vaping and other tobacco products. And the pictures that you see here are actually students from the Carteret High School chapter of Incorruptible Middlesex who are actually presenting this to 5th and 6th graders. So bringing it down to a level in which other youth will understand the dangers of these products, but also in a fun, informative way. I always love to include pictures from our statewide summit. Incorruptible Us does have a statewide summit every year in which we gather all the youth from all 21 counties together to celebrate their accomplishments from over the past year, but also to engage them with some leadership building, some educational workshops as well, and of course, having some fun. And this last year, we actually hosted our statewide summit at Brookdale Community College in Monmouth County, where youth from all of the chapters were able to attend, and the youth helped lead the summit. So engage with different activities, work together with our partners over at the Lindsay Meyer Teen Institute to make this a really fun and informative day. And then, of course, they were video game themed this year, which was very it was very good in terms of it being at Brookdale, because Brookdale actually has an esports team, and the youth actually got to engage in a bunch of video game playing as part of their fun for this summit. And you can see some of our youth got creative by like tie-dyeing their t-shirts, making sure that each chapter was individually unique, but ultimately coming together and truly showing the diversity of Incorruptible Us across the entire state. We also at our summit give awards out, and this year we actually let the Incorruptible Us chapters create social media content saying why their chapter is deserving of awards. And this really helps reinforce the work that our youth do, gives them the much needed recognition that they deserve. And this is something that's going to be a mainstay of our summits going forward. So with that, I will pass it over to Michelle to talk to us a little bit about what her Atlantic County group does.
Okay, hello everybody. Good morning. So yes, over here in Atlantic County with our Incorruptible group, they have really shown a huge interest in environmental awareness. So that was actually the award that they won at our statewide summit was Environmental Awareness Award. So they love being outside, taking a look at how tobacco products and vaping products harm their environment and harm our earth. So I really try to engage them with what their current interests are. So they'd had a lot of fun at Earth Day tabling and talking to our waste management companies about how we can solve this problem of our vape disposals. So they're really interested in bringing more attention to that. So we try to really kind of follow the youth-led passions that they have and capitalize on that and how it relates to our quarterly focus. And then this summer, it was mental health and wellness, and today's the last day of our mental health and wellness quarter. So we had a region-wide beach party, as you can see in the bottom picture. So we were able to engage in that kind of outdoor aspect that they really love, and then also doing a little bit of like a trash cleanup, working on what natural highs are. We had a lifeguard demonstration about water safety and just having a fun day outside. Something that they also voiced to us, we take a survey every year. And so our youth said, hey, we really love engaging with the community and being outside and bringing awareness to vaping related issues. Something that we'd like to work on is public speaking, engaging with professionals, kind of doing some outreach. So we decided to have them do mental health and wellness speeches. So a few of them qualified for mental health and wellness achievement awards. So these brave kids from every Southern county got up and did a well thought out speech in front of all their peers, in front of like 50 plus kids, and talked about how vaping and tobacco products impact people's mental health and how they prefer and examples of them engaging in natural highs. So we also do different community outreach events as well. We really like the youth to lead in tabling and teaching their peers about vaping and smoking and there's a lot of education in this group about like the myths of vaping and smoking and what the reality is. So we do the education component, and then we create a plan or something that they're passionate about, some type of campaign moving into the holidays, how we can help less fortunate people, something like that is the direction that our group is going. And then we get out there in the community and we do it and we execute it. And, these young people are just so talented and so eager to help fix this problem, because this has frankly become such an epidemic with vaping in our schools and our young people. They really want to stake in taking care of their health and holding people accountable that have contributed to this issue. So we're just here to give them a podium, give them the resources they need to move in the direction that they plan for. So we're looking forward to a great school year. Please let me know if you're in the South, how you can get an incorruptible group at your school or in your county. I will connect you with your county's youth coordinator. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Michelle. Passing it over to Ivy from Salem County.
Hello, good morning, everyone. As Carla mentioned, my name is Ivy Janoka, and I am the Salem County Youth Coordinator via the Southwest Council. So as Carla kind of mentioned earlier, our groups are really tailored towards each county, and I really try to put that at the forefront of our group. So you'll see a wide variety of pictures here. I couldn't just pick a few, but really the way we run the group here in Salem is we really focus on things that they are passionate about and excited about, and figure out how they can use those to facilitate change. So whether that's coming up with creative ways to educate, for example, they did a Don't Get Vaped In for the community with a taco bar. They called it Taco About Tobacco. That was an entirely youth-led one. Or we also did, you'll see down the bottom there's some banners for our World Mental Health Day event last year. And that came about because we were brainstorming and someone said, you know, I really love moving and I've always wanted to do a dodgeball tournament. So we sat and we figured out how to go from dodgeball to being tobacco free and mentally well. And really just trying to build protective factors. So we're, of course, again, focusing on that youth tobacco focus. However, we want to connect it into other parts of the community, right? So kind of how to make connections between creating those tobacco-free communities and other topics they care about, what it means to have a risk or protective factor, and just overall really trying to use the group to create these like future leaders who have a sustainable passion. So not just something that they do in high school, and not something that they go headfirst into and try to do all this great work and then burn out quickly, but really linking together what they're excited and passionate about and how to take care of yourself and also still have fun while doing the work. And I will pass to the next person.
Thank you very much, Ivy. We're going to pass it over to Nessie with Essex County Incorruptible Us.
Hi, good morning. Welcome again, everyone. My name is Nessie de Chavez, and I'm a prevention specialist at Family Connections Adopt Coalition, and I'm the youth coordinator for Incorruptible Essex. So here are just a few pictures that we have. The youth are really involved, and I have been expanding into more different schools. Depending on the counties, I know some of us do a school-based models where we go to different schools, which we have found to be easier here at Essex County. And right now, I'm currently in 5 different schools throughout the county. And here are just some pictures that we have. Really big events that we really plan for our Great American Smokeout, GASO, which you can see there with their bulletin board. We work with their school nurse there, so we have a great partnership with the school, and she's able to, add on to all the resources and the education that we are putting out to their school. And then we also have Take Down Tobacco to the middle with the table. So there we have a tabling where the youth are basically engaging with their peers and explaining what Take Down Tobacco is, why this is an important topic to them, and doing a little activity. So a short little activity about their natural highs, just sharing that out. And then we also have a park cleanup that we've done a few years back, similar to what the other counties have mentioned about the environmental factors and how that's very important to the youth. So that's one of the topics that they really like to come out and share with their community, educate others. And yeah, so you can see they're very, very involved. They have a lot of fun. And I really think that engaging the youth, it really depends on, the community, the school, but it all comes down to them being able to have fun with their friends while, being able to be passionate about something that they want to speak out on and educate others. So as you can see, a lot of them are already like friends even before the group. And, we encourage anybody that, has other friends that they can always join. Yeah, so this is some pictures that we have for Essex. And, if you're in the Essex area, you can connect with us, connect with Tanya, she's the Northern Regional Coordinator, and, we can work out, see how we can start an Incorruptible chapter in your school. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nessie. So if you are here on this call right now and you are like, I have youth that we definitely need to get involved in Incorruptible Us. One of the things you can do is you can scan this QR code. And actually, if you want to check out all of the different Incorruptible Us chapters throughout the state, this QR code will bring you to our link tree. And each of our Incorruptible Us chapters have their own Instagram page. So if you want to check out what each chapter's been doing, that's a perfect resource for that. Our statewide campaign page is at theincorruptible.nj on Instagram, and it brings you to our website, incorruptibleus.org, as well. So make sure that you scan that QR code and check out everything about Incorruptible Us. I do see a question in the chat that I'll just address real quick, which says, is there a cost for schools to form a chapter of Incorruptible Us? Absolutely not. We are funded by the state of New Jersey the Department of Health, Office of Tobacco Control and Prevention, and that enables us to be able to have the funding to do these programs statewide. All right. I will pass it over to our friends at LMTI.
Oh, hey. Did you forget about us? We're sitting here so excited, already learning from you guys. I'm taking notes here from Michelle and Ivy and Nessie. Come on. We're already learning a bunch about youth engagement, but the next 20 minutes or so, Caitlin and myself from LMTI will kind of give you some more skills and hopefully hands-on, like applicable ways that you can start infusing more engagement strategies into your programs. But before we jump into this, what I want you to do in the chat right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me, 1 being, I don't know about this, 10 being I'm an expert. How much information do you feel you have on youth engagement? What's your reserve looking like? Are you brand new to the field, being a 1, or are you like, I've been doing this for 80 years. I know it all, lady. Oh, okay, T coming in hot with an 8. I believe that. 6, 2, 7, 8, 6, 8. Okay. Ooh. I got to do the 6, 7, right? Okay. Okay. We are all over the place. I love to see that. So I hope you learn a couple things along the way, and this is being recorded if you want to go back to it, and we will share at the end of our section some additional resources for you. So when Caitlin and I think about youth engagement, we think of it like tools in a toolbox. So I think it's this process of gaining a lot of different things. So every speaker I see, I take something from them. So steal, borrow, take it all, make it your own. But it's about amassing a lot of tools, because if the only tool you have is a hammer, as the saying goes, every problem looks like a nail. So this is called Maslow's hammer. If you've heard of his hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you've heard of his hammer, but this statement is saying, like, we as humans kind of get stuck in this, like, this is the one thing that works. This is what I'm comfortable with. This is the game I always use. This is how I've always done it, right? And if we have that tool, the hammer in this case, everything around us, every problem, every challenge, we're looking at it like, well, it's a nail. I'm just going to use what I've always used. But the thing with youth engagement is, 16-year-olds now aren't like 16-year-olds when we were 16. They're not like 16-year-olds from 2 years ago, right? Mom and dad will never understand because you were never their age. So when we talk about youth engagement, we're trying to put a lot in our toolbox here. So Caitlin and I are here in our Home Depot, Lowe's attire, whatever it might be, to help you expand your toolbox today, because different tools can help accomplish different things. And there's a lot of different methods to get the job done, right? Because 2 + 2 is 4, but so is 3 + 1. And I think Michelle and Nessie and Ivy said a few times that it's not a one size fits all. The way I do it in Essex is different than Salem. It's different from Atlantic, right? So we want to put as many tools in here as we can to figure out how we can apply this to our practices. So Yeah, like I said, it's not always a hammer solution, right? You might need the pliers. I don't know anything about tools or hardware. So the metaphor kind of stops there for me personally. But this is all to say, people engage in different ways. Whether you're working with young people or adults, there's different ways based on so many different factors, right? Our personalities is a huge one. Caitlin and I love to say, not everybody is Beyonce, right? I'm personally Beyonce. I'm the person when I'm in a workshop, I'm nodding my head, I'm volunteering, I'm ready. That's our high energy, high engagement up in the top right here. But, some people might be lower energy, right? Or, uh, you know, it's a tired day. It's whatever. There's different things going on in my life that might be a barrier to engaging in certain ways. That's not even to touch on, learning preferences, right? Like some people are visual learners, some people are auditory learners, kinesthetic learners, thinking about ability, right? Physical ability, intellectual ability, different challenges that there might be to engage. So we want to put as much in our toolbox as we can to give people different opportunities for different levels of engagement. Because if you're not the person who wants to jump up on the stage and do the silly cheers, silly game, silly dance, and that's the only thing we've built in to connect and engage, well, we're going to be sitting kind of quiet, right? And that might cause us to check out or, find a different community somewhere else. So we're really thinking about these multiple layers of engagement. So engagement is sustained, meaningful, and outside of the self. When I say sustained, it's not just one icebreaker in the beginning, right? It's not just okay, answer this silly fun question, what's your favorite fill in the blank? Or if you were a TV character from a show, what would you be? And then I'm talking at you the whole time. It's ongoing, right? And it leads to these positive outcomes over time when they start feeling a sense of community and have this back and forth, and then are able to develop like the dodgeball tournament, like Ivy's team in Salem County, right? That's engagement. We've had an idea and we're really working together towards it, and it's over time it evolves. It's meaningful to them. Every single one of our coordinators said their passions, what they're passionate about, what is their interest, right? It has to be in order to have that connection. That's the WIFM factor. What's in it for me? And it's outside of the self. I know that seems, as I'm sitting here talking to you webinar style, and I can't see your faces. Let me look right down the barrel of the camera for this. It's not a one-to-one type of connection, right? It is not just me talking at you, talking with you. So there's the learning between the teacher, the advisor, whatever you want to call it, and the student, but there's also connections between students, right? You're trying to have as many different connecting points along the way for engagement. Engagement is not just giving out pizza and prizes. That's helpful. I'm not going to lie to you. Food is a huge motivator, right? We love a little incentive when we can, but that's not all it is. And it's not just a cool font and slide deck. Although, again, I do love a cool font and slide deck. And it's not just this obligatory seat at a table. When we look at authentic youth engagement, on the next slide, I have for you some points from the Wisconsin Department of Health's Youth Engagement Toolkit. I'll share that out at the end of our section. We see kind of these ideas coming up over and over again. It's looking and sounding like feeling respected and valued, appreciated, safe. They want to be heard and listened to. We're trying to make these youth-adult partnerships where youth can begin to make decisions and gain leadership skills, and they're partners at the table with you, right? It's not just, me getting together a group of youth saying, what are the problems in the school, and having them tell you, list out every single thing, and then you take that list and do something with it. They want to be partners in this problem-solving process together and see their ideas realized, right? Because like I said, we were never their age. So I do challenge you to think about this. Take a little picture of this yellow box at the bottom, copy it, put it on your note, put it on a Post-it note. If you're like me, you have 8,000 Post-it notes around your desk right now. But I want you to think about this after this webinar is done. What are the ways in which your program is meeting these characteristics already, and how might you build more opportunities for them? Because Caitlin and I and the whole Tobacco Free for a Healthy New Jersey team is going to give you a lot of ideas. But if you don't have a vision of what your group looks and sounds like and what you're already doing, it's going to be hard for you to implement these along the way because you don't know where you're going. So take your little screenshot and think about that later. But I'm talking at you a lot, and I'm going to steal the screen sharing capabilities from Carlo here for a little activity, because Caitlin and I were thinking to ourselves, we're like, oh, okay, how do we really fully engage our audience here in this webinar style format? And it's possible, because engagement is possible on any level. I could be doing an Instagram live right now where I can't see your faces or chat with you, and I could figure out a way to engage you. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you have your phone, you can scan the QR code here. Or if you are on a desktop and don't have a phone with you, which, by the way, I'm envious of that. My phone is glued to my hand. You can join that website right there, slideswith.com/TFT. Please join with your name, and you can choose a cutie little emoji from the whole section here. And you know, for posterity, I will join with you too. I'm loving seeing all of these emojis coming in. Lots of Halloween ones here. Okay. Okay, Jocelyn with a manicure. Oh man. See, I see why this is taking a minute, because there are so many options. Oh, I gotta go with the boba. I'll give you another minute here to join. And if you can't join, that's okay too. But this is a really cool tool that you might want to use with your students. It is free. There is a pro version that allows you to customize and have more audience members and a little more control, but there is a free version. Oh, okay. We're coming in now. I'm going to give you, what do you think, Caitlin? 10 more seconds? Is that crazy? Okay. Yeah, we'll do 10.
10 feels good. Nice round number.
Thank you. I struggle with time. I have so many Post-its in front of me. Like I said before, that just have the times of when I'm supposed to be done talking. Okay. If you're not in, that's okay. You can still watch along or join on that website there. So we are in here now, and I have to know, everybody on your phone or on the website browser, it should come up. How are you feeling today? Let's take a little vote for us here. It's Tuesday, you know, or end of September. I'm a Libra. I'm an October baby, so I'm excited about it. Being October 1st tomorrow. Okay, let's see where we're all at. Oh, okay. Okay, a 3.8 out of 5. You know what? I'll take it for Tuesday. So thank you for playing along there. I want to know from you now, what skills do you need to engage youth in programming? So you can submit 1 to 3 answers here. What skills do you need to engage youth in programming? I'll go with a couple here too. Once I go to the next slide, you'll get to see everybody else's answers. Some of you are thinking, Rachel, you're supposed to tell me this. Why are you asking what I'm thinking? But I'm curious. I gotta know. I'll give you one more moment. Let's see. And you can click on your screen, click on the words that you like the most, and we'll see this change in real time here. Ooh, active listening being a huge one. Okay, word cloud. I'm seeing a lot of great things here. Communication, tech, creative. We got Riz on there, the charisma. There's so many different things, and this word cloud will continue to move about here, but it's cool to see in real time. And I think you guys are right. It's that toolbox. It does take all of these. Some of them show up a lot more, right? Like listening is a thing that's going to happen regardless. Same with patience. I get it. So I'll move from this word cloud because I've got one more here. I'm just curious, and it'll show some at random here. I want you to show me a picture of your favorite phone memory. I might have mine queued up already. Caitlin and I knew this one was coming. And I'll give you a minute on this one. Some of us are like, oh man, I gotta scroll back for this. I'm anticipating seeing Renaissance fairs. I'm anticipating seeing cats and dogs in sweaters. I don't know. It's been like 80 degrees still, so maybe not sweaters yet. Okay, give you one more moment. I see a good chunk of people are in. I got my progress bar at the bottom. I'll wait for one more to go in. Okay, let's see. And if yours shows up, I want you to tell me in the chat what it is here. Carlo. Carlo, you can actually unmute. You got to tell us the name of this sweet baby.
Yeah, so this is my Luna with her last year's Halloween costume.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. It's Black Cat season, and I love that for us. Okay, and I think I'm going to show one more. Cece. Ooh, okay, Cece, tell us in the chat where we're at. We've got some live music. Okay, we love to see it. See here now. Okay, beautiful. My last, second to last question for you. Could you see yourself using a tool like this website? Whether it's in your classroom, your youth groups, your wherever you're trying to engage people. See my progress bar at the bottom ticking. This unfortunately is a timed exam. Oh, okay. We love to see it. Thank you. So yeah, let's go add some more tools for our toolbox. Are you ready to get back to some more content here? I gotta vote for mine. Oh, good. We are. So I'll stop sharing and I'll give it back to you, Carlo, to jump back over there. Feels like early Zoom days. I try so hard not to say next slide, but I'm thinking it the whole time. Next slide, please. So a lot of the times as adults, we might accidentally get in the way of that engagement we just felt. And it can be a lot of things that are popping up. You know, sometimes we just dump information on our youth without input. That there's an important moment there, right? There are times we need to educate and provide information, but we have to make it more of a conversation, right? There are times we look at youth as recipients, right? Working for the youth, the idea that they're not able to take make informed decisions, right? I told you before, we're partners in this work we do together. Youth as informants and youth as promoters, right? We're trying to get past all of that and look at this authentic partnership. Now, I'm not going to talk to you about theory for a lot. I have one I want to briefly show you, and you can, the resources on the bottom of the next slide, you could look to this if you're looking to read more on theory, but there's this idea of this cycle of youth engagement that kind of goes like this. We're listening without judgment. We're validating them along the way. And then allowing them to take that ownership and authorizing them to say, hey, you got this, you got the power, and then act and work together and then reflect on that process. That's a little bit of theory behind things, but Caitlin is going to tell you how we apply all these things and how we actually get to this engagement realized along the way.
Thank you so much, Rachel. We just learned a lot there. We have some new tools for our toolbox, but we kind of want to think about, okay, so we know what we want to accomplish, but how do we want to get there? And if we take a look at what we have coming up here, we really want to think about what they see is what they'll be. That's what Rachel and I like to say all the time when we are talking to, when we're reminding ourselves and when we're talking with other adults who work with youth, right? We want to model those behaviors and we want to set those clear expectations and hold not only our youth that we're working with, but ourselves accountable to the standards that we're setting as well. We never want to ask the youth that we're working with to do anything that we wouldn't do, right? Whether that's a game or an activity or participating in an event, if it's, getting up and speaking in front of a crowd, we want to be able to model those behaviors that we're looking for. And we want to participate alongside with them, right? We want to kind of give a little bit of a level playing field and show that we're willing to put in the work as well, that we're not just expecting them to hold everything themselves. And we also want you to really consider something else that we deem incredibly important, which is belonging. We all are looking for that sense of belonging. And in order for many people, whether it's youth or adults, in order to engage with something, we really want to feel like we belong and have a seat at that table, right? Rachel mentioned before, we never want anyone to feel like we're obligated to have them there. We want to make sure that people feel like they can trust us and one another. We really want to build that rapport, which can, of course, lead to a more positive and productive environment, right? And we want to focus on developing those relationships with our groups so we can better understand their needs, right? We mentioned before things like taking into consideration, different learning styles or just different abilities. We want to make sure that we're really looking at all of those different pieces and fostering that environment so everyone feels like they belong, and then we can lift ourselves up from there. So we kind of think about belonging sort of like a roadmap. We want to think about it as, a process. And there can be a linear way that we go about belonging. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. Not to do the thing, but if you want to go to the next slide, Carlo, sorry. So we have certain touch points, right, along the way when we think about this process of belonging, because I think that that's an important framework as well, that it's a process. As soon as you walk into a room, you might not feel that exactly, but it's about how we set that up. And it's about how we invite people into our space. We have that first encounter with folks, and that kind of gives them the clue of what this group is going to be. So how accessible is our space? We want to think about things like that. Does it require previous knowledge to, understand what's going on? Or are we setting them up for, to have an idea of what's going to be going on here? And also who the invite is coming from. That can be really important. Are we as adults reaching out to the youth that we're going to be working with? Or are we going to ask some of the young people who have been part of our group before to maybe reach out to their friends and share their excitement about the work that we're doing? And, once we have them have that invitation out, we want to think about that welcome and asking everyone to, introduce themselves using their names, because we know that using names is incredibly important and can absolutely make people feel more validated, and showing respect just through those seemingly small things. Maybe it's also having music playing and making the space feel a little more homey, right? Maybe even if you're playing music, maybe it's a playlist that your young people have created, right? Something that makes them feel like they have a little bit more ownership. And of course, then we have sort of the initial forming and that joining of the group. And again, we want to think about developmental relation. Oh, actually, sorry about that. I think there's one slide in between there. Sorry about that. Just want to make sure that we touched on a couple of things on that previous slide, Carlo. Thank you. Sorry. So once we have a group together, we kind of get into that rhythm, right? We have our meetings, and maybe there's a process to it. They know they're going to come in. We're going to maybe sign in. We're going to sit in our small groups with our friends. Maybe we're going to play a game, and we're going to do all those things. But for a group that is healthy, dissent can be a healthy thing. And it can be a really great thing to have that small, conflict. And I know that conflict can sound like a big word, but when people truly feel like they belong in a group and in a space, they feel like they can push back and they can offer different opinions and they can offer alternatives. So if we're, in in a place where we're planning, our next Incorruptible event. And, some students want to make posters and put them up in, their schools and maybe a municipal building somewhere. But then others want to, maybe host a table outside of the municipal building or in the library, something like that. And they're, debating the benefits of that. That can be a really great thing. And Michelle mentioned a phrase before that I wrote down here. We're here to give them a podium. And I loved that phrase because I think that that's really what this is all about, right? We're here to foster that creativity and that kind of healthy debate to, come up with these new great ideas. And then, of course, we repair that, we come to a consensus, we maybe, each side kind of gives up some things and we move forward with our ideas, but that can be a really great strengthening opportunity for us. And of course, we want to focus on keeping our relationship strong, right? Young people who experience strong relationships are much more likely to succeed in the goals that they set, right? And their social emotional strengths and other indicators of well-being are, so strong. And young people do better when they experience that web of connections, right? There are all these different relationships that they have with us, with their peers, with their friends outside their group. We want to make sure that they have that diversified experience, and that proves them to be more resilient in the face of stress. They're able to have better coping skills. This is all fantastic for their development. And this is from the Search Institute. If you'd like to look that up later, we love the Search Institute. We also want to make sure that we're expressing care to the young people in our lives. We've talked a lot about this, right? We want to make sure that they understand that they matter to us and they matter in the groups that they're in. We want to be people that show up. And we want to be consistent with that. We want to be that dependable person, that person that really listens, that consistently tells them that we believe in them, making sure that they feel valued. And obviously we want to come about this with an authentic, as our authentic selves. Young people are very perceptive, of course, right? They're human too. A lot of the times, sometimes it can be easy to forget that, right? When working with teenagers, we all get frustrated. We all, there's all these things, but at the end of the day, they are struggling just like the rest of us. And we want to make sure that we are providing them with that support and, helping them to understand that, we're there for them and we are there to encourage them to make all of these positive choices. And at the same time, we want to challenge growth, right? In that, in that time of expressing care and, consistently, telling them, how well they're doing, we also want to, push them to, keep getting better, keep reaching for those goals. We want them to understand that we know that they have such potential and they can accomplish anything that they set their mind to. And that positive challenge really does wonders for a young person. And also providing support, right? Again, we're here to give them that podium. We're here to be that base so they can then, accomplish everything that they set themselves out to do. We want to help them navigate, through any of the systems, right? As an adult, there are certain things that, maybe only we can help them with, or, maybe they need us to, go through certain channels, but we're really here to, bolster them and help them to achieve their goals. And then also sharing power. I mentioned before, we want to make sure that we're not, asking our young people to do anything that we wouldn't do ourselves, right? And that goes for participating in, events, even having young people have responsibility for certain parts of meetings, right? Maybe every week somebody volunteers to run a game, or maybe there's actual content that, you know, they are going to be helping to disseminate and leading a discussion with the group. There are all sorts of ways that we can, you know, take a step forward and model and explain what's happening, and then take that step back and then give them a chance to lead and to participate in the actual process. And of course, we want to expand their possibilities, expand their worldviews, connect with people and places that are going to broaden their world, right? Showing them that, you know, like we mentioned in the beginning with, you know, Yashi and some of our other Incorruptible students, you know, starting the first college chapter of Incorruptible Us, right? They might not have known that that was a possibility unless, you know, their advisors really opened that world up for them. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to pass that on to a young person and then watch them develop that. And just for an example, these are some comments that we've seen over the years of, you know, from students about their own advisors and some of the really positive things that they've had to say and the ways that the adults in their lives have impacted them and have shown them their potential. And it's a really wonderful thing to be that person and see that growth. All right. Thank you so much. If you have any questions at all, Rachel and I are always here. If you would like to scan that QR code, I see Rachel also just put the link in the chat. We have tons and tons of resources and activities. Please, please, please feel free to take all of that information. That's why we're here. That's why we wanted to give you everything that we had to help you to be successful.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Rachel and Caitlin. That was amazing. Definitely the tool, y'all. If you have not used that tool in your meetings, that seems very, very useful and very fun. So I look forward to taking advantage of that for sure. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna pass it over. I see some of our youth have joined us from Incorruptible Kittatinny, part of our Sussex chapter. So let me go ahead and pass it back over to Tanya and her crew over there.
Thank you, Carlo. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Tanya Bansimer. I'm the Sussex County Youth Coordinator. Our chapter is school-based, so I have groups in 5 out of 10 high schools in Sussex County. Today, I'm super excited to welcome Abby and Winnie from Kittatinny High School, and they will be sharing about all the great work they're doing in their school. I don't think we can hear you. I think they're trying to work out their sound.
See, just a moment.
All right, while we are waiting, they are in class right now in Doug Carnegie's room. Doug is the LMTI advisor at Kittatinny High School. So we partner with him, and he already has a great existing group in the school. So I come in with resources. We meet once a month, we do meetings, and then the second time of the month, we do lunch events. And then each school, the other schools that I'm in, we do partner with other existing clubs. So that really does help with recruitment. So that's also something you can do. I'm just checking the chat. We're waiting for Mr. Carnegie to help us. Totally fine. We'll give them another minute.
Yeah.
But here we can see the pictures on the screen, just for time's sake. So the top one is our recent LMTI camp that we did. We did receive the Most Outstanding Prevention Program Award at the camp this year, for all the great work that we're doing this past school year. So that was such a huge accomplishment for us. I can't wait to see what we do next. The middle picture is the Board of Ed meeting at Kittatinny. We did that last year, and that is when we had some of the youth present to the Board of Ed members and just share, again, all the events, everything that they are doing in their school. And we do have another Board of Ed meeting coming up next month to present to the members again, give them an update and share the great work that they're doing. The third picture that you can see on the top is from back to school night. This was the second year that we decided to do back to school night, and the youth are, really involved. They interact with the parents, they share the resources. You can see we had the wheel that parents were able to spin and answer a question, really similar to what we already do in our lunch events. So that was a very successful event for the second year in a row. And then the bottom picture on the left is our Great American Smokeout event. We do that now each year, and we do take down tobacco events. Each month we do a lunch and learn event that we call it, where, we follow a theme, whatever the youth come up with. They decide what they want to do. And then I come in with the resources and we make it happen. So you can see, each month it might look differently. We focus on mental health a lot. We do kindness, self-love, self-care. So we do have a lot of great themes that we do. And you can see behind me right here, this is my Don't Get Tricked Into Vaping, Treat Your Brain Right. Very Halloween theme, right? So I'm really excited for what we're doing in October coming up. And then the middle picture too is a Power of One workshop. So this was all youth led from this. So they really came up with the idea to have Sean O'Byrne come in and present a school-wide assembly for 9th through 12th grades. And then after school, this group of youth right here actually led workshops with LMTI. They had 4 different workshops where youth were able to go into them and learn all about advocacy, peer leadership. So we had about 80 youth that did stay after school for this, that, attended these workshops. So it was a great event that we had, and we are looking forward to doing something again next year. Maybe not exactly this kind of workshop, but we have a lot of great plans in the works. So stay tuned for that. And if you can go to the next slide, please. So not only do we do a lot of great work at Kittatinny High School, but also in the community, which is why we did receive the Community Change Award at the Incorruptible Us Summit this past April. So you can see the top corner is a Take Down Tobacco proclamation that we did receive from the Sussex County Commissioner's Office. So the youth were able to give a little overview on what they do, and they did receive the Take Down Tobacco proclamation. We present it each year to our Sussex County Coalition, and they did receive the Outreach Award to recognize all the work that they are doing, not only in their school, but in their community. And then the bottom left picture is from our middle school anti-bullying summit from last year, where every school in Sussex County sends about 15 youth from their middle school to attend our bullying summit, anti-bullying summit. And then my Incorruptible Us youth were on stage. They were doing the fun camp songs and icebreakers and energizers to get the crowd going. So that was really great to see. And then the last picture is from Sussex County Day, which was last year. We weren't able to attend this year, unfortunately, just couldn't make it happen with all their schedules. But we did have youth that were there last year, and we had over 1,000 people easily that attended at the fairgrounds, and they were able to share the resources and all the great work that they're doing in their school. And that is Incorruptible Kittatinny. I don't think we're able to figure out the sound, unfortunately.
I did see that Doug did try to unmute, or that Mr. Carnegie's account tried to unmute. Is that working?
I know they're waving. Hi, Abby.
Yeah.
Winnie.
Okay. It's awesome. So thank you, Tanya, for having us learn a little bit more about Incorruptible Us Sussex. Sorry that you are having some audio issues, but we appreciate you all for joining us very much so. So thank you for that. So again, if you all have any questions about whether it's the youth engagement piece that you learned about today during the webinar, or any of the Incorruptible Us chapters, you can always contact us, the regional coordinators. So again, Tanya And Michelle and my information is there on the screen for you. We'll also make sure that our emails are in the chat for you, and it will be in the recap as well. Again, you can scan that QR code, and that does bring you to the Incorruptible Us link tree. That brings you to our statewide campaign page, our Incorruptible Us Instagram page. You can also check out all of the county chapters of Incorruptible Us there as well. So if you want to check out what Nessie's doing in Essex County, what Ivy's doing there in Salem County, Tanya in Sussex, Michelle in Atlantic, or any of the other ones, please make sure to check that out. And then also pay close attention to our Incorruptible Us website, as the action group plan for this year is for the youth to make a bunch of big website improvements for us that we will be working on, to make the Incorruptible Us website very user friendly and very resource driven to what youth do need. So thank you for that. So yeah, thank you all very much for joining us today. We greatly appreciate you and your participation today. Again, this will be recorded and we will send that out. So in case you missed a certain part, you should be able to go back and review some of this very helpful information. As always, if you need anything tobacco-free for healthy New Jersey related, please feel free to reach out. We do work on many different initiatives here with Tobacco Free for a Healthy New Jersey, and we can provide any resource that you'd like. So make sure to reach out to us. Thank you all very much for joining our webinar, and we will catch you for our upcoming Don't Get Vaped In training later this week on Thursday. Have a good day, everyone.